Hello, I'm Akasha, and today I am going to be presenting my idea for Expedition 48. But first, a little about me. I am a graduate from SDSU with a Bachelor of Arts in Graphic Design, and I currently am a graphic designer and a web developer for Ripple Marketing. It is at Ripple Marketing that I have strengthened my skills in graphic design, web design and development. It is also here that I have decided to earn my MFA in web design and new media. And with that, I plan on furthering my career into web development to gain experience within it. It's from this gained experience that I want to share my knowledge with others and teach at a graduate level. While at the academy, I have done projects for website redesigns, responsive web design, and mobile website design as well. All of these projects has helped build my skills to lead to my thesis project. The one project in particular that has helped me the most is Studio 20, which was a website design for Web Technology 1. This website was to be a shopping mock-up for a product of my choice, but then I also had to include products that the other students had picked as well. I had to use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to design this functioning website, but I also had to be able to pull information from a backend database by using JSON, jQuery, and PHP. The two main pages for this project that helped me learn the most were the product index and product page. Both of these pages had to pull information from a backend database. And the product page in particular, I was only able to code one product page and then pull in all the information, including images, for each individual product as the user loads that page. And like I said, it's these skills that I learned during this project that will help me with my thesis project as well. So what is Expedition 48? Expedition 48 is a mobile app for travel junkies and newbies alike. It will provide the user with an interface that allows them to keep track of their traveling. The user is able to check into verified spots and earn badges to display on their profile. The user can then take images and upload them with captions to keep track of where they have been and what they have done. But this is just the beginning. Expedition 48 will act as a road trip guide. The user can input a start and end point, and Expedition 48 will give the user stops to stop at between the 2 points. So why this? I grew up in a family that loved to travel, but it was only ever by car. So we would make pit stops along the way. It's at these pit stops that I would tend to pick up knickknacks, which would include a postcard or an ornament or something along that way along that line to show where I've been. It's this notion that sprouted the idea of a digital version of just that, except this version also helps you plan a road trip. Another inspiration was Road Trippers. This site pretty much helps the user plan a road trip, but in a more broad way, and doesn't offer the user a travel journal just to save their road trips. It basically just acts as a roadmap, and I wanted more than this. So that's where Expedition 48 comes in. It brings to the table something that other road trip websites don't have. That's the idea of this travel journal. As I've stated, the interactive part of this mobile app will allow the user to keep track of where they have been by providing them with badges for different verified locations. Badges based on miles traveled, that kind of thing. The user will also be able to keep a travel log that they can share road trips they've been on, new locations, and even photos of their trips. It's this that's ultimately going to keep the website up to date. So to sum that up, Expedition 48 is for both the avid travelers and newbies who want to explore new places while sharing it with others. Expedition 48 is a mobile app that provides the user with an interface that allows them to keep track of their traveling while also allowing the user to plan their road trips. Expedition 48 is different from other road trip apps because it is providing the user with an interactive travel profile and journal that they can share with others. Who am I going to talk to or meet with during this process? I have 3 people. I have Sue Hegland and her husband, who are avid travelers and have plenty of experience when it comes to not only flying but road trips as well. They will be who I talk to when I have any sort of travel question or what they would find useful within a travel app. And then I have Jerry Kramer, who is the owner of Kramer Digital, and he will help me with any web development or app development questions I may have, as he does that on a daily basis. So who are the competitors for Expedition 48? I have 3. I have Untapped, Travel Diaries, and Road Trippers. Even though Untapped isn't a direct competitor, it's still a competitor. Untapped allows the user to pretty much log beers and earn badges. It is this badge system that is similar to what I am wanting for Expedition 48. And then I have Travel Diaries, which is an app that allows the user to keep track of their trips with images and captions. But it doesn't allow for a lot of user interaction, and it does not provide a road trip function. And then I have Road Trippers, which I talked about briefly before, and they allow the user to save road trips, but they do not offer a journal of any kind. So basically, Expedition 48 is going to take these 3 ideas and combine them into one thing. So who's going to use Expedition 48? The primary audience will be the 23 to 35-year-olds. These individuals love to travel and are somewhat fresh out of college, and if they're not fresh out of college, they more than likely don't have a family or job to hold them down. And then for the secondary audience, I have the 45 to 65-year-olds. It's as these individuals are starting to become a little more tech savvy, they are wanting to share more. These individuals are thinking about retiring or are retired already. And if they're not retired, they are in a position in their job that they have vacation time built up that they can use. These individuals, like I said, are also already sharing their trips and such on Facebook, so the want to share is there. While doing my target audience research, I found some additional information. While I passed out surveys, I found that a lot of individuals actually would prefer having an app that provides a travel journal along with a road trip guide. I also found that the travel journal would be the main draw, with the road trip planner being the secondary draw and not what brings people in. During my research, I found an online forum of individuals discussing apps to use as a travel journal, and there was no cohesive answer. A lot of them were saying they were just using Evernote or the actual Notes app on their phone. And then the last thing I found was that a lot of travel blogs are saying that keeping a travel journal is one of the top things you should do while traveling. It's these travel journals that help you better remember your trips. So based on these my target audience, I found Kelsey, Thor, and Aaron as my key personas. Kelsey is a 24-year-old who is currently living in Sioux Falls and is a graduate of South Dakota State with a Bachelor of Arts in Graphic Design. She is currently working as a freelance designer in photography so that she can travel while working. Kelsey's exposure to this project has been through the survey questions. She has also helped me bounce around ideas and brainstorm. Kelsey's motivation to use Expedition 48 comes from her being an avid traveler and journaler. She loves to be able to journal and sketch about where she's been and what she's experienced. Kelsey has also said that she would love to be able to have a journal that fits in her pocket, that would do all that she needs it to. So basically, Kelsey wants a journal that she can bring everywhere that easily fits in her back pocket, and what better way to do that than a travel journal on her phone? Thor is a 25-year-old male who is currently living in Sioux Falls. He is a graduate of South Dakota State with a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. He is currently employed as a design engineer at Spartan Motors. Thor's exposure to this project is basically the same as Kelsey's. He's also been able to help provide some insight into what can be included in the travel journal aspect of it. Thor's want to use Expedition 48 comes from being a seasoned traveler, but also a foodie. He enjoys to use apps like Untapped to track different beers he has tried, so he would like to be able to do the same with traveling. Thor doesn't want to just keep track of where he's been. He would also like to be able to use the travel journal as a way to keep track of places he's ate and what foods he's tried as well. Thor says that the travel journal aspect would be good for doing that. All in all, Thor wants a way to track where he's been, because he would like to not only remember where he's been, but also where and what he's ate. Erin is a 32-year-old female who is also living in Sioux Falls, and she graduated from the University of Sioux Falls with a Bachelor of Applied Science and Project Management. Erin is currently employed as an account manager and media buyer at Ripple Marketing. Her exposure is the same as Thor's and Kelsey's. Her motivation to use Expedition 48 comes from wanting to share her travels on a platform other than Instagram. She wants to have her travel story shared in a way that isn't oversaturated with other sorts of images and content. She wants to be able to use a platform that is just for travel. So basically, Erin wants a way to share her travel photos in stories, which is what Expedition 48 will do. Ideally, Expedition 48 would be an app with a website companion that both function similarly, allowing the user to have both a mobile and desktop experience while tracking their travels. Realistically, I can accomplish making Expedition 48 a working mobile app that the user can use to record their travels. So through this, the user has pretty much 3 main tasks that they can accomplish. They can create a new travel entry, publish it, and share the earned badge if they earned one. They can view the public travel feed and save an entry, or they can create a road trip, save it, and view it at a later date to use. The first task, which is to record a trip in a journal, is pretty kind of self-explanatory. You want to open the website and then log into your account, and you're taken to the trip feed section, which is the main thing for the entire app. And from there, you have 2 options. You can either click the little thing in the corner, not even in the corner, but like the main bar at the top that says tell others about your trip, or you can hit the little plus at the bottom. From here, you will be taken to the main screen of creating your journal. And from here, it's pretty much a step-by-step process of creating your journal entry. So on this main screen, you want to give the name of your trip and your trip duration. From there, you're going to add your travel journal cover if you want to add one. You will then be taken to the actual main part of this entire task, which is to create your journal. And you pretty much have complete freedom of what you want to do. You can add text, you can add images, you can add video or locations in whatever order you want to do it in. And you have the option to add an additional day if you have more than 1 day, 2 day, however many days your trip may be. From here, you can also share your post, make it public or private, you can preview it, whatever you may need to do. Once you're completely done, you want to hit the publish trip button, and you will either earn your badge or be taken to your trip feed. If you earn your badge, a badge will pop up, and you'll have 2 options to share or just ignore it by clicking OK. Either way, once you're done sharing or you just click OK, you're taken to your final result, which is your journal entry. From here, you can scroll, read through things, actually read it over yourself. You're also able to go back and edit it if you need to. From here, you're able to get back to anywhere you need to within your app. Through user testing, I found that users were getting confused about the wording at the top, so I changed it from where is your expedition starting to just tell others about your trip, and users seem to like that better. So for the second task, which is to view a public travel feed and save an entry, once again the user will open the app, log in, and be taken to your trip feed. From here, you have 2 options. You can either click into the feed, or you can click the 3 little dots in the corner of the actual post. If you click on the 3 little dots, you're taken to a sub-menu that allows you to save the trip without even having to read it. If you choose you want to read it, you can click into it and read it, and then you have 2 options once again to save it. You can click in the upper corner on the 3 little dots, or you can click on the heart on the bottom to save it. All of these options save it to your actual user profile that you can then view later. Through user testing, I found that users wanted a way to save their entry straight from the actual trip feed, so that's what I gave them, and that's how the 3 little dots came about. For task 3, which is to create a road trip and save it, you want to basically, once again, make sure you're all logged in, and then from the trip feed, you want to hit the little road trip button at the bottom, and then from there, you're taken to the main road trip screen, which is where you'll enter your starting and end point and pretty much your points of interest. And then once you hit the go now, you will be taken to a screen that has a list of locations that are along the way of your road trip, and it will be separated between recommended places to visit and then just general overall places to visit. Once you've selected something, it will highlight blue or yellow to show that you've selected it. And then from there you can hit save stops, and your map will pop up and to confirm kind of what stops and where they are going to be. From there, you once again want to hit save stops again, and then you're taken to your trip route. And from there, you can open up your side menu and get more detailed information about your trip. So during user feedback, I found two things. I found that one, they didn't like the original road trip icon at the bottom, so I changed that to look more like a road map. And then I found that users wanted a way to enter a number of days. That way your trip is broken up by days, basically, but they also wanted a label for select your interests, so I gave them that as well. And then for the mood board, this is basically what I have and is the inspiration behind everything in my app. Basically, everything's going to be super flat and to the point. So from there, I have my branding, I have my logo, I have my colors, and I have my fonts. These are kind of subject to change, but this is the main idea. And then, what am I going to need to complete this project? I am going to need both front-end and back-end resources. For front-end, I am going to need to use HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, JSON, and then I'm also going to need to use Google Maps. The back-end is where things get a little more complicated, where I'm actually going to have to research a little bit. PHP, I know. Google Firebase, I'm going to need to use as my hosting for the actual app, and then React Native is what I'm going to use to create my app in JavaScript in HTML5. That way I don't have to learn the other app building languages. The timeline for this project is basically throughout spring of 2019 to spring of 2020, and from here I will be completing my required classes, but also I will be working with directed studies and using that directed studies to work on coding the project and to work on user testing and then making changes accordingly to the user testing, because I want to be able to user test as I go throughout this entire process, so I don't have to do it all at the end. And as always, I am completely able to change my schedule around if need be to supply other things as needed. So overall, Expedition 48 is a app for travel junkies and newbies alike. It will pretty much be a travel journal for them and allow an interactive side of things that they just don't have. But it will also allow the user to plan a road trip to go with their travel journal, which seems to be what travelers want and need today.